So Brett manages our small boating program in a very practical sense. He's responsible for coordinating our small boat training courses and mentoring faculty, staff, and students in how to work on the water in a safe and efficient fashion. He manages our small boat facility that's made up of 5 going on 6 small research vessels. He's unique in that he's able to sort of really foster a can-do, let's get the job done, science support mentality or ethos, but brings kind of a very unique skill set and broad marine operational experience to his job.
I have known Brett on and off for some years, a handful of years, I guess, although this experience this fall was the most closely I've worked with him directly on a research project. So that was part of a major experiment involving researchers from a whole bunch of different institutions. It was funded by the Office of Naval Research, and the overall goal of that project was to better understand coastal circulation off of California. One of the things we did is we had a bunch of what are called oceanographic moorings that were put in the water. So these are things that you leave in the ocean, something where there's a big heavy anchor at the bottom and then like a taut line and then like a floaty ball at the top. And so it just sits there and there's all these scientific instruments attached to the line. We put in a whole array, well over 100, 150 of them. They're seeing the transition from summer to fall, they're seeing storm events come through, they're seeing the effect of winds and currents and how all those things interplay, and you can kind of like tease out a lot of that information. Right before we went to go pick them up, at the end of October, there was a pretty major storm, and so a lot of the top parts of these got kind of tangled up in a way that we hadn't quite anticipated, and so the different elements that were near the top sort of got actually moved around and literally tangled up in a knot. And the knot compromised the strength of the line, so you start to pull it up and it snapped. And so you have something under huge amounts of tension snapping, and there's instruments flying around, and it's not only do we lose all of our instruments, but it's actually dangerous potentially for people on the ship. So at that point we put in an emergency call back to Scripps, and so Brett and his team came up, you know, spur of the moment. We talked to them one day, and then they were driving up by 3 a.m. the next day, and drove up to Santa Barbara, which is where we were based out of. Came out and spent several days assisting us, and they went in. They came with a small boat. They went in with divers who mechanically like untangled these lines, sometimes cut the lines to bring up our instruments, and basically saved our experiment, which was amazing. All of us on board were incredibly impressed. Brett has kids the same age as mine, and I was sad to miss Halloween with my kids, and I know he missed Halloween with his kids in order to help us. And so, you know, as a parent and a scientist, I know those things are always hard, and so I have a special appreciation of people going out of their way to make those personal sacrifices for other people's work.